My name is David Cohen, a cybersecurity architect in Silicon Valley. At this moment, I'm slumped on the sofa like a powerless wreck, the plaster on my left leg heavy as if filled with lead. It's been 2 weeks since that stupid skiing accident trapped me in this house of prison, really where I can only kill time by rummaging through old things. Sarah's old iPhone lies in the corner of a drawer, its screen cracked. I plan to help her wipe the data completely before donating it to charity, at least to make this crippled husband feel somewhat useful. My fingertips glide across the cold glass screen, and I instinctively launch a data recovery tool. Just professional habit, I tell myself. Maybe I'll find some deleted vacation photos to surprise her with. When the progress bar reaches the end, my breath freezes. It's not one file. It's a string of files. The latest timestamp shows 3 weeks ago, the day I was in New York attending a security summit. The moment the video plays, I hear the blood in my skull turn to ice. It's our bedroom. Afternoon sunlight filters through the sheer curtains, casting diamonds shaped on the floor. Those are the smart blinds I installed myself, now ajar at an angle I've never set. The camera is pointed directly at our bed, a messy king size with the pajama pants I left behind before my trip still tossed on the sheets. Then she appears. My wife, Sarah. Sarah's golden hair was more curled than usual, as if carefully styled. She was wearing a red lace bra I'd never seen before. Its straps slipped down to her elbows, the front roughly torn open by an unfamiliar hand, a hand with prominent knuckles, adorned with a serpent-shaped pinky ring, gripping her waist with a possessiveness that made my stomach churn. Harder, please. Sarah's voice was like a blade dipped in honey, each syllable trembling with a thrill our marriage had never known. Her waist swayed like reeds in the wind, her fingers digging deep into the man's bronze back, his skin glistened with sweat under the light, muscles tensing into sharp, defined lines with every movement. The camera suddenly shakes, and half a face flashes at the edge of the frame, high cheekbones, platinum blonde stubble, a thin scar above the right eyebrow. The man lets out a low, sinister laugh, yanking Sarah's hair to force her head up. Tell me, who fucks you better? Your useless husband or me? Sarah's eyes, clouded with lust, stare straight into the lens, her red lips curving into a seductive smile I've never seen. It's definitely you. He can't even get hard. The phone slips from my fingers, hitting the hardwood floor with a dull thud. I find myself clutching the edge of the plaster cast so tightly that my broken bones protest in agony, but compared to the pain of my heart being torn open, this is nothing. The video continues playing, the speaker blaring the sticky sounds of flesh colliding, mixed with Sarah's exaggerated moans. Amid the shock, I make excuses for Sarah. Could it be AI face swapping? She has been a bit absent-minded lately, but cheating and recording it, it doesn't make sense. Is someone framing her? Blackmailing her? After calming down, I watched the video several more times. The flutter of Sarah's eyelashes, the flush rising on her neck, even the arc of her nails digging into the sheets all tell me this is real. A detail no AI could possibly fabricate. This isn't an affair. It's humiliation. It's a declaration of war. The blood of the Silicon Valley elite cooled in my veins, replaced by the cold logic of code. If this was a setup, I would find the puppeteer. If it was real, they would pay 100-fold. I fired up my workstation, jacked into my home network. In my domain, I am sovereign. This is my battlefield. First move, I extracted clear frames of the man from the video. I ran them through every facial recognition database I could access, legitimate and gray area, including public social media APIs and some less compliant tools from the dark web. 0 matches. Like a drop of water vanishing into the ocean. Or did he simply not exist in any system? Second move, I analyzed the video's metadata. The sending device was Sarah's old phone, but the receiving and storage paths had been wiped unnervingly clean. Professional work. Tracing the IP was like entering a maze, bouncing through layer upon layer of proxies, ultimately landing on untraceable overseas botnet nodes. This was no amateur. Third move, I breached Sarah's iCloud with trivial ease, recovering her deleted location history and cached fragments. GPS logs confirmed she had visited a nondescript motel on the outskirts of town, the Greyhound stops multiple times during my business trips. The timestamps aligned perfectly with the video. Simultaneously, I pulled fragmented audio snippets from our Ring doorbell and Nest Hub inside the house. Several clips captured Sarah on hushed, late-night calls. Her tone vibrated with a sickening mix of dependency and fear. You have to delete it all. He knows tech. I'll get the money. Please don't hurt. The pieces were broken, but the message was explosive. Sarah wasn't just cheating. She was being coerced. By whom? The man in the video? The AI face swap setup theory crumbled. The video was real. Sarah went to the motel. She feared someone. That ghost lover was the key. Time to lure the snake out. I fabricated an excuse, an urgent physical therapy appointment, needing me gone for a few hours. In reality, I booked a remote counseling session as cover. Before leaving, I helpfully told Sarah my work laptop was in the study, running a security program. Don't touch it. The truth. I'd left a deliberate backdoor vulnerability disguised as unfinished test code. My physical body might be in the therapy room, but my digital eyes and ears never left home. From a nearby cafe on a brand new, untraceable laptop, I monitored our home network traffic and the booby trap machine in real time. Bingo! Less than 30 minutes after I left, network activity on the target laptop spiked wildly. Someone was accessing it remotely. I instantly launched my tracking programs, locking onto the intruder's digital footprint like a bloodhound. They were skilled, but against my layered traps and home field advantage, the real IP and proxy path peeled away like layers of an onion. Target lock. Like an enraged shark, I followed the IP trail and hacked directly into the intruder's device, a cheap laptop in a room at the Greyhound stop. Resistance was pathetic. The data lay open. The server monitor's cold glow washed over my face like frost. The contents of those folders stripped the phantom bare and shredded the last vestiges of illusion about Sarah. Custom package _ Sarah Cohen. The timeline was as clear as a criminal indictment. The origin, raw footage from a cheap motel room. Sarah, eyes glazed, clearly drugged, being assaulted by a bald, thick-necked man with a scorpion tattoo. Filmed from a hidden, professional angle. The leverage, they used this to blackmail Sarah. They showed her a deepfake version, the bald man replaced by a fictional, handsome blonde named Ryan, the background even photoshopped to look like our bedroom. They told her, imagine your tech genius husband seeing this. Be a good girl, pay, and stay connected. Fear made her comply. The descent, records showed Sarah progressed from pain and terror to being summoned for meetings. A chilling note, target has entered the compliance phase. Can reduce drug dependency, lowering deepfake cost. The latest video from just last week. Sarah walked soberly into room 304 at the Greyhound stop and actively embraced the scorpion-tattooed bald man. No drugs. No visible coercion. Just numb submission. Deepfake. Unnecessary now. She had become part of their stable. Ryan never existed. He was merely a digital mask the Phantom placed over one of their enforcers to deceive me and terrorize Sarah. Did Sarah know who wore the mask? Did it matter? She chose to step into the quagmire and sank deeper. Betrayal was ironclad, regardless of the origin. Anger. Yes, but stronger was a glacial nausea and a final, settling resolve. The target for vengeance had never been clearer. Action flowed as simply as hitting enter. First, identify Scorpion. His face was crystal clear in the original footage. In under an hour, I matched him in police databases. Victor Markovich. Organized crime. Rap sheet longer than code documentation, narcotics, violence, sex crimes. Currently out on bail. Perfect. Second, the gift. Forget complex cyber attacks. For this scum, tradition worked best. I contacted a darknet broker, expensive, utterly reliable, zero traces guaranteed. I purchased a special service, a batch of ultra-pure narcotics, laced with a lethal, time-release toxin or ricin variant designed to mimic acute kidney failure. One instruction, ensure venomous. Victor Markovich was its first and only user. Delivery method. Disguised as a new sample from one of his regular underground dealers. Third, deal with Sarah. She was no longer my wife, just a messy liability and potential threat. I printed Victor Markovich's mugshot and a close-up of his scorpion tattoo. Then I picked up the phone and called Pinaview Manor, a local private psychiatric institution famed for its strict management and high security. My voice was calm, professional, laced with just the right note of anxiety. Hello, I need to schedule an emergency evaluation for my wife, Sarah Cohen. Her condition has deteriorated severely. Paranoid delusions, substance abuse. Last night, she attacked me. She keeps babbling about a drug dealer named Victor, something about a scorpion. I'm terrified. She may require involuntary commitment. Finally, erase the traces. Back at my workstation, I bundled every Phantom server folder related to Sarah, along with all logs of my intrusions, downloads, and analyzes. Then, I fired up a micro high-temperature incinerator. I watched the dancing bites turn to literal ash. Digital evidence annihilated. Vengeance doesn't need flair, precision, lethality, zero trace. That's Silicon Valley efficiency. 2 days later, the heavy iron gates of Pineview Manor, severing the inside world from the outside, swung shut behind Sarah. She entered quietly, never looking back. The evaluation was brutally efficient. My evidence, her recent anxiety, my fake scratches, recordings of her fearful reactions to Victor and Scorpion, combined with my status as a respected Silicon Valley husband and a generous upfront payment, convinced the doctors she needed specialized, closed environment care and observation. Watching her in the standard issue patient garb, led away by nurses until she vanished down the sterile corridor, I felt nothing. This wasn't prison. It was worse. No sentence, just endless therapy and surveillance. Her remaining life would be lived under sedation, psychological conditioning, and the shadow of bars, a woman proven by society, family, and her own testimony to be insane. Fear. She would drown in it, unable to distinguish reality from drug-induced phantoms, the architect of her nightmare being the commitment papers I signed. That was the ultimate reckoning for her betrayal. The same day Sarah entered Pineview, local news scrolled a brief bulletin: bail-jumping felon Victor Markovich found dead, suspected drug overdose. The report was cursory, like dust settling on water, leaving not a ripple. I looked out the window. Sunlight still bathed the manicured lawns. Neighborhood children laughed. This perfect community, this perfect house, once held the perfect life I thought I had. Now, it was just a swept battlefield. Enemies eliminated. Traitor exiled. All that remained was a scorched, barren wasteland within my chest, and a man sitting amidst the ruins, his heart colder than the ashes in the incinerator. Vengeance was complete. I had won. Utterly. Brutally. Turning myself into ice in the process.